I'll come back to Tuka later to talk about the traditional authorities and constituted authorities, basically in terms of solution. But he's talked about those that came, the Gazette and all. Would that make any difference if the people decided, okay, let's return to what it used to be, go back to the traditional rulers and sort things out from the traditional angle? Would that help?
Thank you. Can I answer that from a human rights?
1 second, please. We have William from Abuja. Okay. Hello, William. William, good day. I'm not sure we still have William, but go ahead.
Okay. If I may just answer that from a human rights perspective. So if you look at the United Nations Convention of Human Rights, I don't think that because I'm an indigene of a certain place, it is within my right to oppress another human being. So I will not subscribe to that. And so I think that, you know, whatever the historical, I do not belong to that generation that knows and that has an in-depth knowledge of the past. But one thing that I know is that I grew up and I went to a federal government college, and everybody was the people that were my friends when my friends, simply because we got to know each other. There was no issue of religion or ethnicity or anything as such. And for me, I think that unless we start to blur those lines and we start to close the gap, it's, you know, it's not about, Tukur was saying in his interview, which I watched, again referring, he was like, as long as people...
Hold on, please just hold your thoughts. We have Yang from Abuja. Hello, Yang.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Yang.
Yeah, this is Yang, not Yang.
Okay,
Yang
sorry,
Logams.
Yang.
Yes, Yang Logams from Abuja.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, I concur with all that has been said on both the two speakers and the speaker from Abuja. But I would like to state here that this issue...
Gang, we're having a howl back. Can you just turn down the volume of your TV set?
It's off.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. This killings on the Plateau, I'm from Babkin Ladi, from Fan in particular, and it's affecting, I've lost people, relatives, and so on. I would like to state here that the issue is strictly religious. There's nothing to do with land ownership. There's nothing to do with cattle rustling. It's strictly religious, and it's about dominance. Fulani people are trying to take the land by force, and it's strictly religious. It's in their religious dogma to dominate people and take people's properties, their land, their life, as long as they don't concord to Islam. So whatsoever is discussed out there, people should know that this issue is strictly religious. Thank you.
Thank you, Gyang. Kate, he's very passionate. He's lost relatives and loved ones.
Yes, in my family we've lost so many as well. We just buried one 2 days ago. So I can understand how he feels. I have wept many times as a result of this. I mean, funerals are a lifestyle now in Plateau State.
He says that the reasons are religious.
Again, you cannot really separate the religious undertone to this, because remember, the crisis that took place in 2001 had a religious, again, I said, as a result of politics, because there were Muslims in Plateau State. There are Birams who are Muslims. You know, there are people from the southern part of Plateau State who are Muslims as well. So in terms of religion, it was not as pronounced until the politics came into being. And as we know how our politicians are, they would say whatever to get the vote. And so, of course, just like in football, if you're a Man U fan, you're more likely to take sides with a Man U fan and not an Arsenal fan. That is what is going on. And so, like I was saying, going back to the issue of human rights and some of these issues, if we are to go back to where we're coming from, then very urgent, visible, decisive steps have to be taken. For instance, now, you know, I would, when Tukur says it's unfortunate what is happening, I would expect something more affirmative from him, not it's unfortunate. That's not good enough, because if you see the way the killings are done, people's brains are smashed in two. They will shoot you and hack you. Let me not even go that graphic. And so it is not, I expect the leaders, and thankfully, you know, our president today, who was voted into office based on his moral standing, and thankfully he said he belongs to everyone and he belongs to no one. So we would expect that he will stand up and condemn this killing and say killings and let it stop so that the peace process can begin.
Okay. Tukur, as we wind down, solutions.
Yes. First of all, I think let me just restate, you know, what the former chairman said and what my sister Kate had said. I have interacted with a lot of, in fact, the last visit that I undertook in that part, in areas of Barikin Ladi and Riom, you know, I did it in close contact with a friend who, incidentally, a classmate and a lawyer, and you know, who invited me to look at the problems there. I went and we went round that area. So I think we as elites should, you know, temper the kind of language we use, not to exacerbate the situation, and then, you know, try to find solutions to it. I can understand the passion. I am not here to take responsibility or to, you know, defend. What I am here to do is trying to find solution to it. Let me go back to what I said about the failure of leadership. You know, if you can remember, the chairman said when he invited the RO doesn't come, because when you come, the perception had always been, you know, that there is bias, and then unless if you take away that bias, you know, people will be hesitant to come for meetings that they may not show, they might be able to show what will be the end result. If you can remember, President Obasanjo even had to, you know, put down the state structures at that time. Last year, when we had a meeting on pastoralism and insecurity in Kaduna, in the presence of almost all the service chiefs, you know, it was acknowledged Governor Jang, who was then the governor of Plateau State, never had any meeting with the Fulani community. He have been having meetings. So these are the kind of things, you know, people who are saddled with responsibilities should, you know, try to do it dispassionately without bias. Coming to what are the solutions now, I think I am aware and I know as a fact that the current governor of Plateau State has put up structures that will bring about peace. First of all, he set up a committee of Birom elders and Birom community leaders. He also set up a committee of Fulani leaders and Fulani community leaders. They separately had meetings with him, and then separately they also had meetings between them. For the very first time in almost 14 years, you know, we had the Biroms and the Fulani sitting on the same table to look at what are the problems that we are having in that area. So I think if these are the kind of structures, peace structures that are being put on place, we should try to take advantage of them, you know, and not to try to draw back. Like I said, you know, I can, you know, the loss of any human life, you know, due to wanton violence is condemnable. That is not in doubt. And talking about the president also set up a committee to bring, you know, short, medium, and long-term strategies to end farmer pastoralist conflict in Nigeria. I was a member of that committee. We have come up with the solutions. We have submitted it. So I think we need to take up structures that are being put in place and then temper the kind of language we use, you know, in order not to exacerbate the situation. That is why we are here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As we wind down, Mr.
Yes, I think
Your last word and the way forward.
the way forward, the Plateau State government have to speak. Mr. President have to speak. Speaking here means stopping the killings on the plateau, because government have the machinery to stop these killings. If not, it means institutions are not working. I strongly believe that the SSS are doing their work, and the National Security Advisor have all these information on his table, and they are on Mr. President's table. I remember when there was this chlorine immersion in Jos. The next day, Mr. President set a committee from the federal government to go and investigate. Only 8 people were killed in that incident. Now we have a situation whereby hundreds and thousands of people have been killed. The president have said nothing. My colleague just said that the Plateau State government have set a committee and that he has been visiting the president to discuss this issue. What we want to see results. It's not discussing these issues. Let us see the results of all this discussion.
Right.
So
Thank you.
The president have to speak, the Plateau State government have to speak. We are speaking that the killings should be stopped because we cannot continue to kill and say we are discussing.
On the immediate term, while committees are being set up, an average of 10 people are dying. That is not good enough. Something has to be done, and something has to be done now. The killings have to stop now. And then a restoration of trust, because the people do not even trust the security agencies that have been set up to protect them. There has to be a community effort. They have to be, it's a joint, it's a collective responsibility. And then lastly, I would say, for the widows and the orphans and the children that need to go to school, this is a violation of their fundamental human rights. The trauma centers have to be set up for these people. Care has to be given to them. Those that have been displaced, they have to be taken care of.
All right, thank you. Mr. Tuko, do you have anything to say? In 10 seconds.
Just to add that, you know, my sister Kat had put it up, you know, let's take up the structures. Like I said, I did not say discussion. I didn't have any discussion with the president. I said he set up a committee. The committee has submitted a report. We have had this severally, and then we are seeing new initiatives. We are seeing new efforts. We should try to take advantage of these new initiatives and new efforts to bring about peace in Plateau State.
Thank you. Mr. Tuko, who is a legal advisor, Mieti Allah, joined us from our Abuja studios to look at the peace in Jos and Plateau, precisely. Kate Pam, who is the Plateau Speaks, a peace advocacy group. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And Dr. Simon Markan, a former member of the House of Representatives. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Sunrise will be back in a moment to look at some other issues. Don't go away.